And action.
Most people think hip hop is just beats and rhymes. And that's what I thought too, until I tried to play it and almost started a fight. Turns out there's a lot more going on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our hip hop episode of the Art of the Playlist. I'm here with my two friends, Christian and Patty. What's up, guys?
Hello. Super excited for today, as always, but this is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. A genre of music that happened in our lifetime. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
right?
Mhm,
That is.
mhm.
And one of the only true American made, born, and bred genres. I mean, jazz too, but hip hop is the other one that was really clearly American.
Absolutely.
No? Okay.
I
Yeah,
agree. Oh,
You
no.
don't agree?
Well,
absolutely.
maybe a case can be made for country music. We'd have to look at that. I don't know the history enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
we could talk about
Maybe I'm
that.
exaggerating, but it sounds like a good line for the show.
No,
It's certainly in our lifetime.
and it's truly American. Both of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I really struggled with this to limit the number of songs I put on my playlist. My playlist has 70 songs and is 5 hours long, and that's after whittling it down. I was like, this is way too much. So I
Yeah,
really had to try to focus it and focus, how am I going to get through? I can't talk about 70 songs on a podcast. That'd be a 7 hour podcast. So I'm like, okay, how do I do this in a short amount of time? So I boiled it down to like 3 different topics that I'll cover. But did you guys have the same challenge?
Absolutely. Chris, you talk, and then I'll talk.
oh, I had the same problem. I'm going into this. I'm like, oh, I'm not a huge hip hop guy. I mean, I like it, but I'm not. It's not like my genre. And I'm going in, I'm just starting, I'm like, oh yeah, I need this song, this. And I'm like, I have 100 songs. I have to stop myself. So what I did on my list is I limited myself to one song per artist or group so that, I don't have all the BC Boys or all LL Cool J or whoever, Run DMC, any of them. Cause I could easily been, like you or way more. It would have been hours and hours of a playlist. This is my longest playlist to date. And I had to stop myself. 50 songs.
All
What about
right.
you, Patty?
Yeah, I didn't count my number of songs, but mine is over 2 hours long, and when you guys said we're gonna do hip hop, I'll be honest, I rolled my eyes a little bit. I don't listen to hip hop, I don't think, but when I started doing I figured, I know spoken word stuff, so I could look at the words, and, I'm a spoken word performer and all that stuff, so I'll start there, but I had to stop myself too. It was almost like we could have said, let's just do a playlist about rock. I mean, rock music is eras.
Yes.
Now hip hop is eras. Rap hip hop, right? It was called rap when we first started out, and then it got into being called hip hop, and it encompassed so much more. And I left so much stuff off my list. I figured we got to do more hip hop lists and be a little more discerning about the genre that we're gonna do going forward.
Yeah.
Too
Yeah.
much.
I
Yeah, I
tried
mean,
to I tried to break
sorry.
mine up by like decades almost, right? I was like, there's late 70s, it kind of starts, then the 80s, and then the 90s. And it could keep going. And like, it's hard to stop it.
And
Go ahead, Rob.
honestly, I didn't realize how much hip hop I really love until I dove into creating a playlist. And I was like, wow.
Mm.
Because, I went through phases where I was DJing with hip hop. So I have a lot of records that are hip hop records that were kind of mainstream at the time, but that was what we were playing back in the mid 90s. Like it was a lot of mainstream a lot of the mainstream was hip hop. So I was playing a lot of those records. And when I kind of went through my collection, I realized that I love a lot of those songs. But then I also love a lot of like underground hip hop, like more edgy kind of hip hop, like stuff that has a real high production value. Like the whole fact that they took our funk and R&B records from the 60s and 70s and looped little bits of them and made productions out of those with, break beats and all the whole production angle is really interesting. And then because you played them in clubs, a lot of them are just energy. Like you have some of them that are just a huge amount of energy. But then when I also dove into it, I'm like, well, I can't mention all of those hip hop artists without mentioning some of the major innovations that were done with rhyming schemes and some of the the really complex storytelling that happens in a lot of hip hop. So like, how am I going to do all that in one playlist? So that's what I did. I took like just I made mention of some of the great production value, some of the ones that give me like high energy, and then just the skill, like the rhyming and storytelling is another aspect of the playlist. So that's how I try to divide it up. But it was, even that was really hard to just pick a few songs in each of those categories.
Understood. I feel like I
Yeah.
Oh, you have something to say? Go ahead.
No, go.
I feel like I should start because I probably have the least amount of stuff and you guys are gonna dig deeper. But
Do it.
did you have something else to say there?
No, do it.
Okay. So I started as a spoken word person, I started with the words. And a lot of my selections are either based on the words, the sample, or the beat. And most
Hmm.
have a certain vibe. Most of my stuff is mainstream. I don't know a lot of deep cuts like maybe Rob, obviously being in the clubs and all that stuff, you were exposed to a lot more of it. Um, so a lot of my stuff is recognizable. I'll start there. I also love reggae music. I love jazz music. I 70s disco and R&B and all that. So that's where a lot of stuff sometimes pulls you in based on the original tunes as well. So I started my playlist with a tune, a performance from 1971. The Revolution Will Not Be Televised by Gil Scott Heron. I might have mentioned him on our protest. Stick It to the
Stick it
Man.
to the man. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
man, because it talks about social issues, and it's really an iconic tune. And if you look at the history of that piece, it's Gil Scott Heron doing spoken word over live jazz, and it's considered one of the forerunners of what was to become rap and then hip hop. So, from a history perspective, I encourage all of you to go and listen to that tune. The Revolution Will Not Be Televised by Gil Scott Heron. It's an important history of hip hop piece. Um,
I love that, Patty, because I didn't have that on my list, and I don't even think I've heard that song, but I know of it. I know that the legacy that it created with the hip hop community, but I've never actually went out and heard it. So I'll be anxious to listen to that on your playlist.
well, it's from 71, and then hip hop and stuff and rap was in kind of the streets until you get to the late 70s and you get to like the Sugar Hill Gang and Blondie and all that
Right.
kind of stuff, which I'm
Yep.
sure you guys are going to talk about. So I'll let you do that. My list then jumps from the 70s to the late 80s, early 90s. And I have a lot of stuff on there that, like I said, you guys would recognize. Nice. Coolio, Warren G, Eminem, Rob Bass, and Easy Rock, House of Pain. Oh, Naughty by Nature, Hip Hop Hooray. I named my playlist Hip Hop Hooray because I just think that's a cool use of words. Stuff like that. Um, like I said, I love the influence of reggae and hip hop together. Maybe we could look at that on a deeper dive sometime. So Shaggy Boombastic is on my
No,
list because
Mm.
it's a
uh,
great one.
it's got such a, like, intense, beat to it, and also the vocals and his voice, it evokes, like, those years in the reggae clubs and stuff like that for me, which is really fun. Um, Miss Jackson by Outkast. We all saw Outkast out in Jones Beach at one of Moby's festivals. They're a really fun band. That was a really important time in terms of dance and stuff like that. I really love Outkast. I really love the Roots. The Roots are represented
Oh.
here. I think the Roots are amazing, talented artists. They're on every night on television doing all kinds of stuff. And if you don't stay up late to watch The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and The Roots, I encourage you to look for the clips online on YouTube or streaming services and check those out because those are important stuff. Um, I also like a lot of the females in hip hop. I have like Missy Elliott. I have uh, um, actually J Lo is on my list. Cardi B is on my list. Someone newer who really caught my attention is Doshi. I really like some of that work, but the biggest influence, I think, in terms of my hip hop stuff, in terms of this playlist, and I didn't even go into like crossovers with rock and crossovers with punk. Like, I don't even have the Beastie Boys or like Prophets of Rage. I didn't even get there because I was trying to keep it under control. You guys just kept going, but I stopped myself. But one of the biggest albums that influenced me came out in 1990.
Oh,
The
great album.
Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. She was in a band called the Fugees, and they came out with a cover, but a hip hop cover of Killing Me Softly. Killing Me Softly, which was a 70s song from Roberta Flack, and they re-recorded it, the Fugees, in the late 90s, and Lauryn Hill was the vocalist, and I was blown away by that song because I really,
So
really,
good.
yeah, I really connected with the original. It's such a soulful, heartbreaking song when Roberta Flack does it, and by putting a beat with it and making it hip hop, it brought a different contemporary energy to the song. Still heartbreaking,
Yeah.
but a different vibe.
And what
Uh,
a beautiful voice, right? I mean, amazing.
Lauryn Hill, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
she is amazing. So I close my playlist with The Rain, Missy Elliott, Killing Me
Yep.
Softly, The Fugees, and Doo Wop That Thing by Lauryn Hill, off the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So the last like set is all female artists on there. But there's so much more, and I look forward to doing more in the future, even though I was a little hesitant when we originally talked about it. So hip hop.
Yeah, I love that you brought the female perspective in because I just looked at my playlist while you were talking about that, and I realized that I only have I have Missy Elliott. I definitely have Lauryn Hill on there. I have the Fugees on there, but it's underrepresented by female
Mine,
artists, and there was a
mine
lot
too.
of them, like Queen Latifah. I'm thinking of,
Exactly. Salt
yeah,
and pepper.
Salt
Yeah.
and Pepper. Yep. All
It's like,
those, all
I'm
those.
like, I
There's a
screwed
ton
up.
of early hip hop that has female vocalists on it. We
And Beyonce. I mean, there's so much stuff that's interesting and cool. Maybe we look at just female artists in some capacity, either in the
Yeah.
hip hop genre or in general. We can think about that stuff. So
We got to narrow it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely, there were no
But
bounds.
this was fun.
It was fun. Picasso said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the real quote, but he said, in order for an artist to create, they need boundaries. So we learned that lesson through this version
Agreed.
of the podcast, this episode. We need some boundaries to get our art in a row here.
I listen. I don't like boxes. If you're trying to put me in a box, Patty, I'm not doing it.
No, I don't like boxes either, but at least some guardrails. Don't let the bowling ball go in the gutter all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think that there's a lot of sub episodes we could do from, reggae influenced hip hop to the crossover of hip hop and rock to more modern hip hop where, in the 2000s and it got a little bit different. They changed the rhyme scheme a little bit and it got a little different. There's so many angles that we could do. So
East
that
Coast,
just
West
gives us,
Coast.
oh yeah, East Coast, West Coast.
Not trying
Definitely.
to start a fight. Just
No,
saying.
it's true. I don't know how much that really applies anymore, but certainly it was a huge deal throughout the 90s, the East Coast, West Coast stuff. I also wanted to say it's funny. I have some older song. Well, I'm across the board, but like when hip hop and rap first started happening, it was storytelling, but it wasn't necessarily social commentary or something like Anxiety by Doshi, which is a real like truth of her life kind of a song. I have a song on my list by the Quad City DJs, Come On Ride the Train. Come on, ride. There's no story. It's just come on, ride the train. You ride it with a beat. Woo! Like there's not, but it's a super fun song. It's a party tune. And at the time it was there, it was in the spotlight. Today, would it garner any attention? Hard to know, but it's of a time, right? Of the
Yeah.
transition from the 70s to now. So anyway.
All right, Chris, you want to give us your list?
Yeah, sure. I mean, similar and a lot. we already kind of talked about a lot of things that I was thinking. Like mine is underrepresented. I didn't have Queen Latifah, Salt and Pepper. Others, I'm disappointed in myself. I got caught up in all the other stuff. Um, and usually, I will say my playlists. I like to have them in order. This is total just shuffle, right? There's
Well,
no rhyme or
okay.
reason. It's just one great song after another. I did kick it off with White Lines because I love that song,
Hmm.
and I think it's a great story. Moving to Eminem, Dr. Dre, Tone Loc,
Wait a
it
minute,
just keeps going.
can you remind me who did White Lines?
Grandmaster Flash,
Okay, cool, and
yeah,
that, like, 80s?
I would say it's late 70s or
Okay,
early 80s. I would have to look, but I'm gonna guess 79.
okay,
Yeah, I mean that was one of the great storytelling hip hop songs and one of the earliest
Totally,
hip hop songs.
yeah.
right?
I just
Yeah,
I just wanna make sure, like, our audience is getting what's what, because there was
Right.
a White Lines song, a rock song, and he sampled
oh,
it, right?
yeah, yeah, they're totally different. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
but that's all. Just slowing the roll. Go ahead, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
I'm
No,
gonna
that's all right.
time it came out.
I threw in, Planet Rock by Africa Bambaataa, and then I get into some fun stuff. Biz Markie, Just a Friend, right? It's just and, Rapper's Delight is another great story, with Sugar Hill Gang. I mean, I could just sit here and list every one of these songs, you're gonna be like, "Yep, that song rocks. Yep, I remember that." And, a lot of them, I think, come back to when I was DJing as well. So I threw in Onyx and Young MC and and I had OPP by Naughty by Nature, Patty. So you can have your hip hop hooray. Uh, and it's even Two Live Crew, right? I mean, remember those guys? I'm not gonna start singing any, but um, but yeah, I when I go through this list, I'm like, that's a great song. There isn't a song on here that's not a great song. And I, like I said, had to stop myself at 50 'cause it just could have gone on forever. Um, but if I'm definitely going to be listening to this playlist a lot. It's going to be great for everything. So
Yeah, I'm really excited to like now that I've done the hip hop, and I've never done a hip hop playlist in the past. This is the first one I've ever done.
same,
I've done like like high energy playlists to like
right?
hype up the boys for sporting events and stuff like that, like a rally tunes kind of playlist, which had some hip hop. But this is the first dedicated hip hop playlist I've ever done. So
Yeah.
it was though there's a lot. So
Y-
if I'll go through it and I'll just talk about my journey through hip hop, and I'll focus on like what I said, the production, the energy, and the skill. That's kind of the overall arching theme. But when I first heard hip hop, I didn't really understand what it even was. I heard the very first hip hop song that I heard was Public Enemy after seeing
Oh,
"Do the Right Thing" by Spike Lee in 1989. That was the first hip hop song that really resonated with me, and I told that story on our "Stick It to the Man" episode. So I'll you can go listen to that story incomplete. But so I'll fast forward a little bit and talk about another track that really floored me, and that was in 1995, the direction of hip hop went from these like party songs to a darker, rawer vibe. And one
mm,
of the songs that I heard back then was Shook Ones by Mobb Deep. And I just couldn't get over what that sound was. I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, I don't even know how they're making that sound. And I found out later that they took a sample from an old Herbie Hancock record and they didn't just loop it like they had done in like previous hip hop records earlier on, but they chopped it up, they pitched it down, they manipulated it into so it was almost unrecognizable, and they slowed it so far down that it got this like dark rawness and power quality to it that really sound like something completely new. So that song was one of the ones that I put on my playlist. I really love that song. Um, but then a couple years went by, and like 1997 or so, Chris, you'll remember this. We were DJing in nightclubs. I was DJing in nightclubs, and I was playing mostly like open format. So I was playing pop, rock, dance, hip hop, everything. But I remember hearing this one song on the radio, and it was "Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See." Um, and I heard it on Hot 93, Hot 97 at the time, which was like the biggest radio station in the country out of New York for hip hop. They were like the home of hip hop. So that was like the first song I heard. And you Busta Rhymes has an amazing flow in general, but this song was different. And I actually, Chris, I still remember. Do you remember I had that white Honda Civic with the
I remember
tinted
the
windows?
Civic. Yeah,
And I
yeah, and the soccer
remember
ball you could hit
that's
hanging
right.
from the mirror.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's I forgot about the soccer ball. Um, but I can still picture driving down State Street in North Haven and hearing that on the radio, because the ultimate tastemaker, Funkmaster Flex, was playing it on the air. And
Oh,
he wasn't just playing it. He was a DJ. He was a nightclub DJ, and he was freaking working it. Like he's cutting between. He had two copies of the record. He was cutting between the two copies, rewinding it, hitting the air horn over and over again, like it was the best
just
song
ripping it up.
ever. Yeah,
Love it.
he was killing it, and he wasn't even letting the track play. He was like the beats in the intro were so original that he was looping the beat section, or not looping, but like cutting back and forth between the intro of the track. And then you play the first verse, and the rhyme scheme was so original in the first verse that he'd cut and play the first verse over and over again, and then hit the air horn and go back and play it again. I mean, it was like it was probably he must have played that song constantly for 30 minutes.
Oh
Oh,
my
Like
gosh.
wow.
it was amazing. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, this is going to be the biggest song in the world. And I need to go out and buy 2 copies on vinyl immediately.
So you can cut it.
That's awesome.
And that's what I
Yeah.
did. I went out and bought 2 copies and played them in the nightclubs forever. So,
It must have
um,
killed too.
yeah, but do you remember where Chris, when we had the gig at the Metro in New Haven?
That little place. Yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they had that front room where we played like hip hop and R&B and stuff, and then they had the main room
Oh yeah.
upstairs.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot about that.
yeah,
Yes.
so I remember playing that record there. And another record I remember playing there, which I actually got in trouble for, was, that was 1997 or so. So when I was DJing in New Haven, you had to cart these massive crates of records
Oh.
through blocks of the city street to get them to where you were going.
And if
So
you haven't done it, you can't appreciate how heavy that is.
they're really heavy, those records. Um, and I had like I would go to these gigs and I never knew it was open format, so really never knew what I was going to play. So I brought way too many records. Almost every record I ever owned, I brought to gigs. So that was a problem. But there was one track in particular that I remember playing at that gig. Um, so I'm playing the gig. I'm playing, like, it was mostly hip hop in that room, but it was light energy. It was people drinking and talking, and there was a new song that just came out by Biggie that I really loved. Biggie Smalls, produced by DJ Premier. There was a song called "Kick in the Door,"
Oh.
which was built off of this like 70s jazz funk sample that I absolutely loved. And I don't know if many people recognize the sample, but I did. And so I'm like, I couldn't wait to play that song. So I threw it in. And right away, as soon as I threw it on, I knew it was wrong. I was like, okay, that was wrong. The floor cleared.
Start throwing bottles at you.
People went straight to the bar, and I look up, and the owner of the club is just staring at me. I'm
Yeah.
like, and he's not staring at me like, hey, can you try something else? He's staring at me like, what the hell are you doing, dude?
I'm getting people to the bar.
That's right. There is that.
That track was very aggressive. It was violent almost. And actually the lyrics are kind of violent. So in that room, it totally wasn't the vibe. And I probably almost got fired that night. But he was worried I was gonna start a fight or something, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
The energy of the people and having them be too hopped up, too violent. That's
And when you're playing vinyl, you can't just like hit skip, right?
No,
right. Yeah, you gotta
You
mix
gotta
up.
like find another
cut out of it.
song,
Yeah,
cue it
yeah.
up, mix it in. So
Right.
Rob, read the room, dude. Like that was a big mistake.
It happens. You learn.
That's it. Hey,
And go
you know
ahead.
what I remember about the Metro when you guys used to work there? They had a cage and girls used to dance in the cage, and it was, like, so throwback to, like, disco clubs. I thought it was crazy.
I really enjoyed that club. I will say I the biggest hit there was Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Relax. And you worked the lights. That place was electric. If every time I played it, it was insane.
That's
Yeah, that was fun.
so
That was
past
fun.
that time. It was like a throwback then, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Funny.
And that I wanted to talk about some of the genius lyrics in hip hop too.
Mm.
So like the mastery of the art of rhyming is something I really didn't recognize in the early stage because I was focused on the production value and the energy that it brought to DJing. But there is an amazing amount of poetic writing that goes into hip hop. And I don't know if you've ever heard a track called Alphabet Aerobics by Blackalicious.
I
I don't think
have
so.
that.
Have you heard that?
Yes, it's so interesting and cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the whole concept is kind of crazy. Each of the sections of the rhyme are built around a different letter of the alphabet. So every word in the rhyme starts with that letter. I think it's not every word, but it's almost every word. And over time, the beat speeds up and gets faster and faster, and the rhyme scheme gets more complex as it goes along. So James, my son James, heard that song and loved it, and he was young. I don't remember how old he was, but he was really young. But he said, "Dad, let's learn that song together." And I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay, how
That's
hard could
fun.
that be?" So we decided to see if we had any skills. Turns out we don't, but we did get pretty far. But once it speeds up, it's almost impossible. You trip over it, you lose the rhythm, you can't really keep up. But it was a really cool exercise, and I encourage you to go. That's on my playlist. I encourage you to go listen to that song because it's fun and it shows some of the more creative rhyme schemes that these hip hop lyricists had conducted. So that's really cool. So I mean, I love the fact that hip hop to me started as just like a party and interesting musically, and then evolved into like one of the most technically demanding forms of art. And I really mean that. I think it hides a lot of its complexity inside of something that just, moves you physically, but it's really a creative art form, and I love it. And I didn't even mention storytelling. Like
for
you talk
social
about
commentary,
and
right?
social commentary too, right? But
Mhm.
there's so many storytelling songs on my playlist. The stories are just vivid with strong emotion and messages. Jay Z's 99 Problems. Chance, have you ever heard Chance the Rapper?
Oh,
Chance the
yeah.
Rapper. Chance the Rapper has a song off of his like first album, Coloring Book, called Juke Jam. You got to check that song. And of course, there's like Lose Yourself, Eminem. But my favorite storytelling song is a song called Wet Dreams by J. Cole. This is like from his 2014 album, Forest Hills Drive. And it's a story that all young men should hear. It's a story that normalizes the awkwardness of the very first sexual experiences of men. Instead of like breeding them in this like confidence and boastfulness, it talks about how, they're oftentimes a lot more awkward than people brag about.
Yeah,
So
the bravado.
right, the bravado of the whole thing. So that's a really interesting song too. So if you listen to one song on the playlist, listen to Wet Dreams by J. Cole.
Alright, very
Amazing,
cool.
Rob. A lot of interesting stuff there, and I look forward to us delving deeper on future podcasts with stuff that inspired us in that way. I'm so glad you talked about the art uh, of speaking. This and that's why I included Eminem on my list and a bunch of the artists because it is an amazing thing. I have some credits in speech language pathology. Speech is a secondary action of the biology of your body. So your mouth is made for eating and um your breathing apparatus is made for breathing. So the fact that humans have taken two pieces of their physiology and created the ability to have language, and then to take it to the level that some of these hip hop artists have done. It's awe-inspiring. So thanks for that.
So intellectual, Patty. That's why we love you on the podcast.
Making my head hurt.
And Grandmaster Flash, I apologize for interrupting you. It was 1983, and the reason I asked you that is I remember hearing that song everywhere in the
Oh,
club.
that's all you heard.
And that,
Yeah.
right, and I think that was it hit me hard when you said that song, and I just wanted to remember when it was. So sorry to
Right.
put you on the spot, but it's 83.
The more you know.
So, guys, we didn't do too bad. This is roughly a
No.
half an hour, so
Yeah.
this could have been 4 hours, but we got through it. So
It was a
that
lot
was
of
good.
fun.
It was a lot
and
of fun.
and I have an awesome playlist now.
Together. Yeah, we do. If we put all our playlists together, they could spend their whole day listening to hip hop.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
please remember you can access all the playlists that we put together in the show notes in the of the podcast episode. So you'll see links to all the podcasts either on Spotify or Apple Music. And please remember to tell your friends about the show, like, comment, subscribe. We value your feedback, so feel free to reach out to us on our Instagram, on our Facebook. We're happy to converse and talk about hip hop if you'd like.
And remember, trust us, not the algorithm.
Thank you.
Bye now.